I'm already getting teary-eyed, look. I'm really fucking nervous, I don't know why. I already want to cry. Fuck. The reason why it's like emotional to talk about this stuff is just, it's like something that nobody should have to like go through, especially like while pregnant or like trying to raise babies and like trying to do like everything you can to like just make shit happen, basically, you know. I was gonna start crying in the beginning of the video, and I just want to like make it clear, like I'm not crying because like I'm still like hurt. It's just I'm crying because I guess in a way like you let a lot of shit happen, you know. You like, as a mom, like you kind of just push things away, like it's okay, I'm gonna let it go. It's gonna be a year now that I've been single. I don't want to say a single mom just because I do co-parent, so I don't want to say I'm a single mom. I'm just single and I'm a mom, you know. But it's just like crazy to think back of like how much stuff I really like happened to me, or like I allowed people to treat me and talk to me and put me down as much as I fucking did. And I feel like, I think that's why it's emotional for me. It's just like looking back and I'm like, I should have never let shit happen that way. I shouldn't have let a certain person like treat me like that or talk to me like that, you know. I was already like mentally not okay when I had my daughter, who was my first, just because a lot of stuff that happened in my relationship with their father. There was a lot of stuff that happened in between that, during my daughter's pregnancy, even after, of the way I was being treated. And it continued into even my son and his pregnancy. And like out of both my pregnancies, I think my daughter's was probably the most calmest, and that's just because I still lived at home with my mom. During my son's pregnancy, I crying a lot. I was not myself. I was like depressed. I was always fighting with their dad. Like I wasn't able to enjoy my pregnancies the way I know I should have. And that was just because of the way I was being treated, you know? I was criticized for not being able to breastfeed. My daughter was 3 months when I was first told that I was a bad mom. And there was just a lot of stuff that was being said to me, like having to be called out of my name by their dad, and it just wasn't okay. And I don't know what the fuck I was thinking to like let things happen like that, you know, which sucks. But I mean, you guys, everybody's has heard, you know, like you're gonna do whatever it is to keep your family together, but it should have never gotten to that point to where my daughter and my kids had to see certain behaviors from myself and, you know, like their dad and stuff. Like it should have never gotten like that. My mental health was affected a lot throughout that. Like my mental health was fucked up. Well, let's just talk about like how I became a fucking single, right? I decided to call it quits with their dad back in, I think it was like maybe like a week before Thanksgiving last year. And the reason why that happened was because I got into an altercation with him and we were not living together anymore. But I had asked him to come and drop off diapers, and because I had forgotten to go buy some. And that whole situation just escalated, and I'm not going to get into detail about it or whatever, but it kind of escalated. And a lot of shit was said by him. A lot of shit that really fucking hurt me. And everything that he said to this day is not okay with me, which is why I've like set up the boundaries that I've set up, and just the way we communicate. Like there's reasons to it all behind, you know. But something in me like clicked after that fight. Like I've never been so angry, and thankfully my sister was there, but I have never been so angry. Like I think that was like the first time that I like screamed out that I fucking hated him. Like I think that was the first time I ever said those words, and not to him, but I was just screaming it because I was like, I cannot explain like the anger that I had in me that night. Like I fucking punched the wall and my hand got fucked up, and for like a week. It was very like sore and everything, you know. And but that was like the first time that it like clicked in my head, like, you're fucking done. Like, you're done with the relationship. You're done trying to save your family. Like, it's not fucking worth it. I remember when it was the kid's dad's turn to have the kids for the week. I remember just being like very down and just like very depressed about everything that was happening in my life, because mentally, like I told you guys, like I was never okay that whole fucking year. And I remember waking up one morning and just right away heading to like cry. And I remember just like putting my hands up to my face and just like, I'm not a religious person, but I believe in a God. And I remember just like speaking to God and telling him, like, if this relationship isn't for me, like, please help me get out of it. Like, I don't want to be in it, or if it's not for me. And for a while, I've known that he was not the person for me. I just didn't want to accept it because I had 2 kids with him. So I was trying to make it happen, but I knew it wasn't. I just didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know, like, mentally if I was gonna be capable of doing it. I remember just like telling God, like, help me get out of it. Like, if it's not for me, just help me get out of it, but let me get out of it when I'm mentally ready to go. Like, when I'm mentally strong enough to leave, physically okay to leave. Like, I want to leave when I'm okay. And after that last altercation with their dad, like, I knew I was ready. And it's fucking crazy because like when I left and I had to like move out and everything, like, and I had my own place and everything, and just like everything kind of happened like the way I wanted it to. Like, I got out mentally okay. I knew I was done, and it was all for the benefit of my kids. And it's just crazy because like I could see like the difference with my daughter more, just because my daughter was the one who kind of had to see a lot more than my son, which I'm grateful for, because I didn't want him to see certain stuff either, you know. But like, even like my relationship with my daughter, like, she's only 2, but just the way like me and her like interact is a lot different than how it used to be too. Like, she doesn't see the crying anymore, she doesn't see the screaming anymore, you know. And like, fuck, like, how many times like I've been crying in front of her, like when I used to be with their dad, and just the way she would like look at me when I would be crying, and she would like put her little hand on my cheek and just like stay there. And like, it's like fucking heartbreaking that a like 1-year-old like knows what the fuck is going on, and like knows that something's not okay, you know. After I had like left him, like I went to I started going to therapy, and just because I knew I wasn't okay anymore and I needed help, and I didn't have anybody to go to talk to, like friends or like family really. So I started going to a therapist, and I started to explain to the therapist about, you know, what I was going through. She would ask me questions like, how's the relationship with their dad, like how do you guys fight, like how do the fights go. And so I started kind of telling her how they would go, and like what he would say to me, or like how I would feel in the middle of it. And she was the one who told me that what I was going through was mental abuse. Like, when she said that, I was like, mental abuse? I'm like I don't think so, you know. Like like I just didn't have like a lot of like education on mental health, you know, or anything like that. And she told me that it was what he was doing was mental abuse. The more that I kept explaining how fights would go, and just how he would like treat me, and just how everything would basically go, and just how I would try to like explain to him how I felt, and like it would automatically be turned back on me. Like, I would tell him I felt like this, and he would be like, oh, but that's how you feel. Like you don't do that to somebody, you know. Like, I felt like my feelings were being validated. I feel like everything that I was saying was just like, it's your fault. Like, it would always come like back to me and everything. And the more I kept explaining to the therapist about our situation, just how they were going and everything, she told me, she was like, he sounds like a narcissist. And I was like, I've heard that before. Like, the girls I used to go to school with, they told me the same thing. They were like, he sounds like a narcissist, like you gotta leave. And when they would tell me that, I'd be like, you guys are exaggerating. Like, no, like there's no fucking way. And so after my therapist had told me that what he sounded like was like a narcissist, I started like doing research on it on my own, and everything was starting to like make sense to me. And like even like the sex part of it, like too, like the sex life of it, like I understood why. Just because a lot of times like during that relationship, like I didn't want to be intimate with him in that way. I didn't want to like have sex with him anymore, and for the same reason my body didn't want him, you know, like, I mean, at least for like women, I feel like they kind of understand me when, you know, like your body, like when someone's not good for you, like your body would kind of start the first ones to kind of reject them. And I didn't want to do it anymore, but then I would allow myself to be intimate with them just because I wanted to feel that like intimacy with that person. I wanted to feel like something with that person, you know, which is fucking sad that I had to like get to that way, you know. Like the only way to feel some type of love or like affection from your partner is just during sex. Like that's not okay. I started like educating myself, just hella shit started making sense. Like the way I felt that I wasn't enough, that everything I was doing was fucking wrong, how he made me feel so insecure. And like I've never been a person to feel insecure. I've never been a jealous person. I've never been anything, but I was doing everything to like for him to like in a way accept me, you know, like to me like make like finally feel like I'm worth it, you know, which is fucking crazy to say because you would think that somebody who carries your kids is worth, you know, like it's worth, like it's just worth treating them right. So it was just crazy like that my therapist told me that the whole narcissist thing, because I've been told that before, that him kicking me out of that place was probably the biggest something I could thank him for, honestly, just because once I left that condo and everything, like that's when like my anxiety started to calm down. I enjoyed being in my new place. I started to like enjoy being alone. I felt like a whole weight was lifted off my shoulder. I felt like I could breathe again, like I wasn't like suffocating, and I just started to feel very like okay, like, you know, I can relax, you know, like I started to feel like free, like I felt like I was in control of my own life again and just everything. And then obviously my job like helped out a lot because it was giving me that independency, and then it was also like getting me out of my own head. And I felt alone, and I just, especially when I didn't have my kids, that's when it would like hit me like I miss my kids. Like I would always like see videos of them on my phone or look at pictures because like I'm so used to being a stay-home mom, you know, like it's hard to like transition from being like a stay-home mom and then all of a sudden like having to like go a week or a couple of days without seeing your babies, you know. So that was very hard on me because I wasn't used to it. It's for the best. Like my kids are happy on both homes. Both my kids are being taken care of. Like I don't really care, you know, like as long as my babies are okay. My babies aren't, their parents like fight like that and they're not seeing mom cry as much as my daughter did. Thankfully my son didn't get to see that, but like I'm glad like my daughter doesn't have to see that anymore, you know, the arguing. Like I'm just happy that they don't have to. When I moved out and like now that I'm living here and everything, like I had time to kind of like analyze my life and like really like sit down and just sit back and just like think about, okay, like how do you feel? Why is it that you feel like this? Like what can you do to like help yourself in that situation, you know? Like, and what I mean by help myself is like in the mental aspect of stuff. Like what can you do? I started to do little stuff. Like my therapist told me, she was like, you need to at least once a week like do something for yourself, whether it's to get your nails done or go out to eat or hang out with friends or like do all this stuff. So like I started to do all that. I started to go out. Whether it was with my family or whatever, like I would go out and eat, and it started like helping me out a lot. Like everything was starting to like kind of like fall in place, you know. Being with my kids, like I enjoy them so fucking much now. Like I can relax with my kids, like that I moved like out and like I'm good, and it's been almost a fucking year. Like I'm like, I feel like I'm kind of getting back to myself, you know, like how sassy I was, like my goofy side of myself, and then dancing, hearing music with my kids, and like, you know, just making like videos here and there. Like my personality is like starting to come back to me, you know, and it feels fucking good. Even now, like I understand that that person, my old self, doesn't exist anymore, you know, but kind of like getting some of those characteristics back is helping me a lot, you know. Like I'm not completely there yet, you know, but I'm happy that I am where I'm at now, you know, because I mean I'm listening to music, I can dance with my kids again. Like, I don't feel depressed, you know. I don't feel my anxiety up anymore. Like, my anxiety has calmed down a lot since I left, you know, which it's fucking great. And I'm blessed that I was able to fucking like get out of there. And I'm happy that I was able to like figure it all out on my own, you know. Obviously with the support and everything that I had, like I'm glad that I was able to get out when I did, especially like how young my kids are. Like, the last thing you want is for your kids to think that a relationship like that is okay. And that's what I kept telling myself, is that I don't want my daughter like wanting to like have a relationship like that. I don't want that relationship to be something normal, because it fucking wasn't. I don't want my kids to like feel like that's how you should be talking to a partner, you know, like, you know, no, I didn't want that for my kids. Like, I don't want my kids to think that. So now that I am able to kind of like parent them the way I want to when I do have them, like the whole mental aspect of stuff is like my biggest thing with them, and letting them like express themselves without me getting angry with them. And just like, if their feelings are hurt, I want them to be able to feel okay to cry whenever the fuck they want to cry. Like, I just don't want them to feel like their feelings like don't matter, like they're not being validated. Like, I don't want my kids to feel like that. This whole like last year, like it was a lot mentally for me. It broke me, I know that, but I'm happy that I am where I'm at now with everything. And obviously, you know, like not everything is like perfect yet, and might never will be. Like, I'm just happy now that I got out of it and I wasn't homeless. I was able to get my own place because I saved, you know. I'm happy about that. I didn't have to struggle like the way my mom did, you know. So I'm happy that I was able to do it. My first priority is making sure that their home felt like home. I wanted them to like be their first time being in my new apartment and feel like, okay, this is my home, you know. Like, my main thing was making sure it was furnished by the time they came here for the first time. Like, I didn't want them to have an empty house, you know. Like, I made it a priority to make sure this felt like home. I remember my daughter my daughter, because she's the one who talks a little bit more, but my kids walking in here and them seeing the toys and like pictures of them up on the wall. And I looked at my daughter and I asked her, I'm like, do you like it? And she like looked at me and she just gave me a thumbs up, and I was like, yes, like fuck yes. Like I remember telling her, like, mommy's trying her best for you, like for you guys, you know. Like, mom wants to make sure you guys feel like home, because that was like my biggest fear, was that my kids wouldn't want to be here, you know. So the fact that I was able to like do all that, like I feel happy about it. Just everything now, like how it's been like the last month or whatever, like it's a lot better. Like, I feel very happy. Like, I feel I'm teaching my kids a lot about self-respect, boundaries, most of all, because I wasn't taught that. And I'm glad, like at 25, now that I turned 25, like I know those boundaries. I know what I will not be accepting from a partner. I know what I will not be dealing with. I will not be dealing with people talking to me in a disrespectful way, whether it's friends or family. Like, I will not be taking disrespect. And I'm happy that I did learn it, because like I can't do the same to my kids. Like, I want my kids to have a good life, but there's a lot of shit that I do want to speak to you guys about when it comes to like mental health and just trying to get out of bad relationships. Because I have talked to a couple of girls that have told me they have gone through or they are still going through what I kind of went through with a toxic relationship like that, mentally abusive one. This was my 1 year recap just on everything. I do want to start posting on YouTube a lot more, just because I've always wanted to do it. And I think now that everything's kind of calmed down for me, and there's just a lot that I can be showing about my life, including like my kids and just like my job and just little adventures, because I have been getting a little bit more on the adventure side. I am getting on that adventurous side. Like, my birthday had just passed on the 24th of October, and the first thing I thought about was doing, and it's how I used to be, it's like, I want a piercing or I want a tattoo, you know. Like, I was like, it's my 25th birthday, and I was like, I want to spend my birthday the way I want to. I want to make it special, because I haven't enjoyed my birthdays the past freaking 2 years, you know. Like, I want to do something for myself, something meaningful, something that I've been wanting to do, you know. So I went out and I actually got my kids' names tattooed on me. You guys can see it right there, you know. That's Nyla's, and then my son Adolfo. And then I also got this one right here, you know. It's a little Scorpio girl for my birthday, because I am a Scorpio. So I went out to get that, and I do want to get more. Like, I kind of got addicted to it. But life has been good so far for me. I feel like the more I like speak things into the universe, the more I'm getting it back. So there's been a lot of good things coming to me, and I feel like it's gonna continue to come. I've learned to just kind of accept things for how they are, you know. With my anxiety, like, I used to like really let things affect me just because I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I would get freaked out, and now I'm just like, I'll give you 30 minutes to freak out, and then you better like get up and start. Okay, what's plan B? Like, what are you gonna do? What can you do? You know, if you can't do anything about it, like, just fucking let it go. Like, you know, my kids are happy, they're healthy, I'm healthy, I'm getting happy. Like I'm gaining my weight back. My cheeks are starting to look a lot more like chubbier now, which I'm fucking happy about, because a couple months ago I was barely fucking eating because I was like so in my head, you know. Like, I was so in my head. I was for people who want to know a little bit more about even the co-parenting part of stuff, or you guys want to ask me questions, I could do like a Q&A or something about whatever you guys want to know about. Like, I'm down to share. Like, I'm an open book, you know. If you guys want to meet my kids, I'll put them on camera. My daughter, she will most likely want to. My son, he'll probably be more very standoffish. So yeah, this is a closing chapter for me. It was a very emotional one, just because I don't like to think back on. I think the way I can benefit from it is from talking about it, especially if there's people out there that have gone through or are going through like a similar situation like that, like co-parenting, or more on the mental health aspect of stuff. Or if you guys have more questions for me, like, I want to be able to answer them and just, you know, talk to you guys about that. You know, it's part of my life. Yeah, thank you for watching, and all right, well, bye.